So, today again, we are continuing with the book I Am That from Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj. So, the discussion is at a point where the questioner asks Maharaj regarding the creation, that is, the world that he perceives. Now, the questioner says that he sees himself as a part of this world. So, how he can be the creator of the world? And Maharaj says that consciousness is the creator. The consciousness is the animator of the world. So, the world here he refers to as the painting, and consciousness is the painter. So, the questioner asks him, now I'll read it from the book. How do you look at the world? And Maharaj says, I see a painter painting a picture. Now, by painter, he means the consciousness, and by picture, he means the world, the reality that is being animated by the consciousness. The picture I call the world, the painter I call God. I am neither, I do not create, nor am I created. I contain all, nothing contains me. Now, the painter I call God. It is important to note that by God, Maharaj is referring to the consciousness. For him, the God is not a separate entity in manifestation, an all powerful entity that is managing the affairs of the world. For him, the God is the consciousness that is animating the reality. And he says that I am neither. He says that I am not even the consciousness. What he is the source. And the source is the potential. Now, if you want to understand this in terms of energy, think of it like this, that something which is in potential, right? Now, we have learned this in physics that if you hold an object at a height, it gains potential energy. And that means it has the potential to transform into the kinetic energy or any other energy. So the potential is already there. So it is the nature of potential to activize itself. And so it is the nature of the source to activize itself. And the activization is the consciousness. And that is what that is what he means by the word God. So this is not to be confused with the God as we use in our regular day-to-day language. God is, for him, is not a personal image that he worships or a personal idea of something, a separate entity in manifestation. That is not what he means. He further says, Maharaj further says, causality is in the mind only. Memory gives the illusion of continuity, and repetitiveness creates the idea of causality. Now, you see this causality is again an appearance in consciousness, in duality, because there is no cause and there is no effect, or cause is the effect, and effect is the cause revealed. You see, if you say that what is world? World is the effect. And when you wake up, you see the world. So waking up is the cause and world becomes the effect. But you woke up because you were asleep. So sleeping then becomes your cause and waking up becomes the effect. And again, you were asleep because you were awake. So you see it keeps going on and on until you reach the source of it all, the consciousness. Because the sleeping and waking, everything is happening in the consciousness. So there is no particular cause that leads to a particular event. And why this discussion is important is because the ego loves to pinpoint a cause. And by all this discussion, what the questioner here is trying to establish is that there is an independent, powerful entity that is responsible for managing the world. Now, you see, it is very convenient for the ego to have this type of thinking so that when things go bad, the ego has something or someone to pin the blame upon. That is how the ego works. So, ego wants to establish the God as an independent, separate entity. So, when things go wrong, say when some pandemic happens, or when people lose uh, material wealth, or something happens which does not go according to the ego's idea of happiness, it has something to pin the blame on. There is a very popular movie in India in which the superstar Amitabh Bachchan is shown as an atheist. Now, the story goes something like, he goes through some hardships in life as a child, and then he becomes an atheist. So he never enters the temple. So, but there comes a time when he's all grown up, and the circumstances become very harsh for him. So he finally surrenders. He gives up. So he goes up to the temple, and then he's standing in front of the god, the idol, and he says that I hope you are happy now. I'm sure most, if you are in from the Indian audience, you must have seen this movie. I think the name is Parvarish. I'm not too sure. I think it is Parvarish, but I'm not too sure again. So this person, this Amitabh Bachchan, the actor, he's standing and he's saying, "I hope you are happy now. You got what you wanted." And see, don't we all do that in real life? When we lose job or suffer some setback, we try to find something to pin blame on. First, we find people to pin a blame on. Okay, I lost the job because my boss was bad. This happened to me, that happened to me. Or if we don't find anybody, we love to pin the blame on ourselves. I am lazy, I am bad, I should have been more responsible. And in the end, when we don't find anybody, we use God, a created God, as our scapegoat. Okay, it is all God, he does not favor me, I am unlucky, this and that. And that is what is happening here. That's why ego wants to establish this separate idea of God, so that it has someone to pin the blame on. And Maharaj is saying that the world is your creation. You are the painter, you yourself are the painter. You yourself are the animator of this entire world. So he says that God is the ultimate cause, and world, the effect. They are different, but they are not separate. So cause and effect are not separate. The God is the world. Then the discussion continues, and then again the questioner asks, he says, how can I see the world as God? What does it mean to see the world as God? And here Maharaj gives an example. He says that imagine you are in a dark room and you can't see anything. And all of a sudden, the window opens and the light rushes inside. Now, the moment the light comes inside, everything comes into being. Everything, every object in the room is illuminated and everything comes into being. Now, think of the window as the consciousness. So, consciousness is illumining all the objects in the room. The room is the matter. But the window alone is not responsible for that, because window is just a mechanism, but the sun is the supreme which is shining outside. But none of this is possible without the I am. I am is the impersonal awareness of being. And I am this or that is the identified aspect of consciousness. Take a moment to reflect on that. I am this or that is the conceptual thought me. It is the identified aspect of consciousness. And I am, simply I am, without this or that, is the impersonal awareness of being. And everything in existence is subject to change, but the underlying being, it never changes. Because the being is the ground of all experiential awareness. The being is the ground of all awareness, all experiences, and it is the ground of even the absence of experiences. So Maharaj says, without I am, there is nothing. All knowledge is about the I am. False ideas about this I am lead to bondage. Right knowledge leads to freedom and happiness. Existence means becoming, change, birth and death, and birth again, while in being there is silent peace. And the questioner then asks that, okay, if I have created the world, why is the world so bad? And to which Maharaj says that the mind colors the world as good or bad. So the world, the appearance of the world is subjective. For example, you may see the world in with your own lens, and I may see it from a very different lens. For some people, the world may be a horrible place. It may be a very dreadful place, and for some, it may be a blissful place. It may be the most joyful place there is. Now it depends on the conditioning, and the conditioning depends on the circumstances, and the circumstances depend on the will of God. So that is what Maharaj says, that the world is subjective and hence it cannot be real, because reality is in objectivity. What that means is that it is independent of memory and expectations. You may see, say, a piece of art, okay? Say you and me, we go to an art gallery, we see a piece of art, we see a picture. Now you may say that it's a beautiful picture, and I may say no, it's an ugly picture. The way I will perceive that picture depends on my conditioning. The colors used in the picture, the concept shows in the picture. If it relates to me, I will like the picture. But if it doesn't relate to me or my experiences, I will not find the picture beautiful. But for you, that may be the greatest piece of art there is. So, mind colors the world according to its own ideas, own beliefs, own perception. And the reality is in the what is. It is as it is. And I guess that is it for today. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.